On the world news, use of Johnson & Johnson vaccine halted over rare blood clots. 20 children die in Niger Republic fire. Incumbent President of Benin Republic, Patrice Talon, wins re-election. A very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us here on the World News on Independent Television. I'm Uyi Agumofwegbe, live in Benin City, Nigeria. Men of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission have arrested former Imo State Governor Owele Rocha Sokorocha over his alleged misappropriation of the funds of the state to the tune of 7.9 billion naira. The EFCC head of media and publicity, Wilson Wujaren, confirmed the arrest. The anti-graft agency spokesman said the agency has a former Imo State governor in its custody, but did not, however, give details to Newsbed. There has been a running battle between the former governor and the EFCC in recent months, following his claims and counterclaims that he did no wrong and that he was being witch hunted by the EFCC and his successor, Hope Uzodinma. Incessant industrial action by academic staff union of tertiary institutions in the country must not be allowed to continue. This was the submission of some members of the visitation panels of the Nigerian Federal Universities in Abuja. ITV Abuja correspondent Zachary Gabriel reports.
The inauguration exercise, according to the Minister of Education, Adamu, represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Sonny Echonu, said the last of such exercise was carried out in early 2011, covering the period of 2004 and 2010.
This panel is expected to review the performance of the institutions assigned in the areas of governance, academic standards, quality assurance, management of finances, and the relationship between the management on the one hand and the staff and students on the other, the assessment of the condition of physical infrastructure, as well as instructional facilities.
The newly appointed members
of concerns, a lot of worries to parents, to students, and to everybody. So it's for us to come up with recommendations that will collectively make the Nigerian university system to work better.
While appreciating the federal government for finding them suitable for the appointment, they promise to execute their duties with due diligence.
My colleagues, we pledge that we will do our best. We have studied the terms of references, and we are very clear as to what is expected of us. We shall endeavor excellent report.
Panels inaugurated are expected to present 2 separate 5-year reports and are to conclude their assignment and submit their reports within 60 days from the day of inauguration.
Matahiro appeared before the House Committee on Arms and Ammunition investigating purchase of arms by the military. Roslyn Eworame presents details.
The ad hoc committee is reviewing the purchase, use and control of arms, ammunition and related hardware by the military, paramilitary and other law enforcement agencies in Nigeria.
I was either in the northeast or southeastern Nigeria, or better still in the south, trying to ensure stability within Nigeria.
Tension heightened when the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, refused to explain a document he presented to the committee, asking the committee instead to review the document barely settled into office and is definitely not the right person to speak on arms and ammunition purchased by his predecessors.
The period for which you wanted this report, having been summarized in the executive summary, explains whatever details you will require. Issues of procurement that you so demand to get to know were done by specific individuals. I would rather prefer you call these individuals to better explain to you
very specific issues.
A member of the committee frowned at the Army's chief's explanation for not appearing before the committee. He said the National Assembly is the house of the Nigerian people and everybody in public office works for Nigerians, adding that the house speaks for the people.
When the parliament calls you, you should respect the parliament and address the issue within the parliament. We know that those individuals that were holding those positions were holding it under you, even under your predecessor.
What he has presented, he has presented to us an evidence, but he has to own it up, and it has to be on oath. And Mr. Chairman.
However, as tensions were rising, Chairman of the committee, Roslyn Eworame, reporting.
Members of the National Assembly Legislative Aids Forum yesterday in Abuja protested the non-payment of their 20-month salary arrears. Again, Roslyn Eworame completes the report.
Spokesperson for the protesters, Zebi Springs, said that since the inauguration of the 9th Assembly, their salary arrears were withheld by the management. He said the matter was referred to the House Service Committee with a mandate to, among other things, investigate the irregularities in the payment of legislative aids. He, however, said Assembly Service Commission before payment of the arrears. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, said every laborer deserves his wages, adding that the leadership of the National Assembly are already looking into the issue.
Sometimes these things can be protracted, but wages owed since 2019, a little bit understanding. I know there are financial constraints, but one thing I know is that we will make sure that this matter is resolved amicably, and your payments or your arrears are paid. Okay?
6 governors in the north say they are joining forces together to wage total war against banditry in their territories. Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello stated this while presenting a letter of appointment to the new Emir of Kagara, Ahmed Garba Guna, as the second Emir of Kagara at the government house in Mina. Although he did not name the 5 other governors, Bello said they have all agreed to fight the bandits terrorizing the state. He advised the bandits and their collaborators to change for the better in their own interest to face the wrath of the people and government. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, is expected at the National Assembly to brief the leadership of the House on the industrial action by resident doctors in the country. Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, who announced this, said the meeting will be over how to ensure execution of the Memorandum of Action entered into between the government and the National Association of Resident Doctors. Gbajabiamila, while meeting with the executives of NARD, led by the President, Uyilawa Okwaesuyi, at the association's secretariat in Abuja, assured that the House will reach an amicable and acceptable resolution. Noted that though it was impossible to accommodate the hazard allowance in the 2021 national budget, the House will work to ensure it was included in the supplementary budgets. Clouds, the parts of Europe. ITV is also visible on Smart TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Android TV. You can view us on TSTV, channel 364 nationwide, on StarTimes, channel 130, and GoTV 107. Follow us on our Twitter handle at ITV Radio NG. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com. We live stream at itvradioNigeria.com/live. Like our Facebook page at facebook.com/ITV Radio NG. On Instagram, we are at ITV NG. Download ITV app from your mobile Play Store. Stay tuned. Hill was vaccinated against COVID-19 in a move aimed at encouraging more citizens to go for the vaccine. South Sudan started vaccination last week, with the first recipients being health workers and people over age 65. South Sudan received 132,000 vaccine doses through the COVAX Global Initiative. According to the Health Ministry, the country has 10,387 confirmed cases of coronavirus, including 113 deaths. The U.S., South Africa and European Union will temporarily stop the rollout of the Johnson & Johnson COVID jab after reports of red blood clotting. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration said 6 cases were detected in more than 6.8 million doses of the vaccine. Rosalind Evorame has details.
Johnson & Johnson has paused its EU vaccine rollout, which started this week. It follows similar cases after doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, which prompted curbs in its use. The U.S. Food and Drugs Administration said it was recommending the temporary pause out of an abundance of caution. It confirmed that one patient died from blood clotting complications and another in a critical condition. All 6 cases, it said, were in women between the age of 18 and 48, with symptoms appearing 6 to 13 days after vaccination. Following the advice, all federal sites in the U.S. have stopped using the vaccine until further investigations into its safety are completed. State and private contractors are expected to follow suit. Johnson & Johnson is a U.S. healthcare company, but the vaccine was developed mainly by its pharmaceutical branch in Belgium and is also known as Janssen. Unlike some of the other jabs, it is given as a single shot and can be stored at normal refrigerator temperatures, making it easier to distribute in hotter climates or more remote areas. While many countries have pre-ordered millions of doses, it has also been approved in a few nations. Rosalind Evorame reporting.
At least 25 children have died after their classrooms caught fire in Niger's capital, Niamey. The cause of the fire in the school located in the Pays-Bes area of the city has not been established. The fire started around the entrance of the school, which has a population of 800 students. The blaze, which spread to 21 classrooms built with straw, trapped the children inside as they did not have an alternative escape route. Niger's Prime Minister Mahamadou has visited the school to offer his condolences to the children's parents. The resignation of a police chief and an officer who shot dead a black motorist in Minnesota have failed to end unrest over Sunday's killing. Rosalind Evorame reports that Chief Tim Gannon and Officer Kim Porter quit the Brooklyn Center Force on Tuesday.
Despite the resignation, fresh clashes between police and protesters erupted for the third night. The pair said she shot Dawn to Wright accidentally, having mistakenly drawn her gun instead of a teaser.
Do you know the difference between a gun and a taser?
The deaths happened in a suburb of Minneapolis, a city already on edge amid the trial of an ex-police officer accused of murdering George Floyd. On Tuesday night, bottles and other projectiles were thrown at police headquarters and officers responded by firing tear gas, stone grenades and rubber bullets. More than 60 people were arrested.
We're here and we will fight for justice for this family, just like we're fighting for our brother.
I thought somebody was playing a joke on me. It hurt me to my heart. Dante was a beautiful child.
Another demonstration broke out over the killing in Portland, Oregon on Tuesday night, with about 100 protesters marching on the Portland Police Association building. Flames were seen coming out of the side of the police building. About an hour later, the Portland police declared the gathering a riot. Portland was the center of mass demonstrations last year in the wake of the killing of George Floyd. Rosalind Evorame reporting.
A use of force expert, Barry Broad, has told the U.S. jury that the former police officer accused of the murder of George Floyd was justified in pinning him to the ground. Barry Broad told the trial in Minnesota that Derek Chauvin acted with objective reasonableness. The trial also heard from Minneapolis Park police officer Peter Shank, who responded to the scene of Floyd's arrest. The court was shown footage from his body cam. Mr. Shank told the court that the crowd of bystanders around Floyd was very aggressive to the officers. The trial of the George Floyd murder is now in its third week. The seat is expected to last for at least 1 month. A former South African President, Jacob Zuma, has today a deadline to suggest the penalty the country's highest court should impose against him if he were to be found guilty of contempt. The penalty relates to his ignoring of summons to appear before the commissions of inquiry chaired by Justice Ray Zondo to answer corruption allegations, which he denies. In last month's hearing, the commission asked the court to sentence the former president for 2 years to stamp the authority of the court and show the seriousness of Mr. Zuma's actions. The court, however, withheld judgments in the case. Mr. Zuma has earlier said he was not afraid to go to jail if the court decided, and explained that he had not appeared before the commission because he had lost trust in the justice system. Benin's President Patrice Talon has been re-elected with 86% of the votes according to provisional results released by the National Electoral Commission. Edouard Alassane Samo got about 11.3%, while Corentin Kou came in third with 2.3%, with a voter turnout of 50%. The Beninese Constitutional Court is expected to announce the final results of the election later. Sunday's votes took place peacefully after a campaign marked by violence. Meanwhile, the main opposition figures who are either in exile or have been sentenced to prison had called for a boycott of the ballot. Others were prevented from running in the elections by a new electoral code and institutional reforms. The election could not be held in 13 of the country's 546 districts because of security problems in some areas in the country's northern and central regions. U.S. envoy John Kerry is heading to Shanghai to woo China in advance of a climate summit President Joe Biden is hosting next week. After a major diplomatic row at UN, both sides hope to cooperate over plans to drastically cut emissions. Roslyn Eworame completes the report. The Somali president has stripped former police commander Sadak Omar Hassan of his military rank after he was sacked by the police chief. The president also issued a decree to the effect on Tuesday. On 12 April, Somalia's police chief, General Abdul Hija, fired Sadak John after he warned the country's parliament not to hold a session on delayed elections. The parliament went ahead and held the meeting and extended the presidential term by 2 years. Lieutenant Colonel Fahan Mahmoud Adan was appointed the commander of Banadir region to fill the posts and was also promoted to the rank of colonel. Now time to talk some sports. Team Edo has continued to rake in gold medals in its bids to finish tops with barely less than 24 hours to end the 20th National Sports Festival. Emerson Edosa reports that some major sports stakeholders, including the president of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, have rated the participation of athletes very high in the biennial event with new games record sets.
As the tournament draws to a close, all eyes are on the host Edo State and defending champion Delta State, on who will emerge champions. Edo claims their impressive performance on the track and field event, winning the gold medal in the 4x100 meter relay race male after impressive performances in the 100 meters, 200 meters, long jump, male and female category.
It actually looked like a planned race, but we didn't plan it. It was what we wanted, and God actually helped us. Any victory in 200 is for both of us. Any victory in 100 is for both of us.
In other sports, Team Edo won 5 gold medals in weightlifting as Unoma Eriobawi set a new national record to win gold medal in the heavyweight category in the powerlifting event. In the concluding part of the gymnastic and table tennis event, Edo and Delta State recorded impressive results with many new national festival records set in this year's event despite the COVID-19 hitches. The president of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, Olamide George, a national record holder in long jump, Yusuf Ali, said this year's edition of the National Sport Festival has produced new athletes that will make the nation proud in international events. Meanwhile, Anambra State contingent attribute their performance in this year's event to the several postponements the event previously suffered.
I can tell you in confidence and categorically that in the last 15-20 years, we never had this opportunity of our athletes running all these personal bests we have recorded so far. And I can tell you that in our 400 meter 4x4 relay you talked about, yesterday we had 45, and the 2 other guys have also run 45. That means we're having a good crop of athletes that could do better.
I've been involved in every festival, in this country since 1979, and this is the best festival ever organized in terms of organization, facilities, venue, anything. Product is fantastic.
It all depends on the foundation we build here, the structure here for gymnastics. In the next 4 years, I do not think any states can beat any of them.
We've been in camp for process of keeping all the contingents in the camp for the first 3 months, after which on the day of moving to Edo, they call us back again. After again, they said it will host again. Then we started to put them together again, after which they cancelled it again. So it was a big challenge to Anambra State. It has a lot to contribute to our performance. If not, we could have gone far.
At the time of this report, Delta State maintains top position on the medal table, closely followed by Edo State. Emerson Edosa reporting.
Arrangements have been perfected for a hitch-free closing ceremony of the 20th National Sports Festival in Benin City, Edo State. Best Simbire reports that ultra-modern Samuel Ogbamudia Stadium is expected to play host to Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and other dignitaries.
Workmen making final arrangements for the closing ceremony of the 20th National Sports Festival, tagged Edo 2020, which started over 1 week ago. The state-of-the-art podium was being erected while the seating arrangement has been perfected for easy identification. According to the project manager, Edo 2020, Corrin Musa Ebomena, the closing ceremony will be performed by the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who will be expected to extinguish the torch of unity. He said the ceremony will commence by 6 o'clock in the evening, and the only sporting event slated for the day is the relay race, mixed race of 400 by 100 meters and 4 by 400 meters for men and women. He said the host Governor Godwin Obaseki, Minister of Youth and Sports Development Chief Sunday Dare, and the chairman of the local organizing committee are expected to make speeches at the event.
I think the climax of the whole event that the event is going to be climax tomorrow. But we start televising live from 7, 6, 7, and ends at 9. Just 3 hours. Any state that is angling to host must beat the town of Edo.
He said the event will be spiced up by cultural display and artist performance. Best Mbiere reporting.
And to end the world news here on Independent Television, a look again at our top stories. The US, South Africa and European Union will temporarily stop the rollouts of Johnson & Johnson COVID jab after reports of rare blood clotting. At least 20 children have died after their classrooms caught